Hi there, my name's Jay, and I'm making this video because I want to start documenting my life and having a journal of sorts that I can look back on and see if I actually have accomplished the things that I want to accomplish. One of those things, and what this video is going to be about, is, well, I guess it's not something I'm going to accomplish, but instead something that I'm going to get rid of. And what that is procrastination. We struggle with procrastination. A lot of people do. And I'm not perfect, and I've been struggling with it for a majority of my life. I get too afraid to start things, and by the time I realize that it's due, I rush and I stress, and it just becomes a very anxiety-filled time for me. I'm not going to get it done. I'm not going to do it. But that comes with things that I actually have a due date for. Like an assignment when I was in high school or in university, I wouldn't even begin because I'd say, I have one more day, I have one more day, I have one more day. And then the day would come. And that day would be full of all-nighters and drinking energy drinks and developing these beautiful bags that I have under my eyes. And it's something that I don't want to live with anymore. And I have been working towards just starting. And that is what this episode is about. This is a series that I'm going to call Week by Week. And I'm going to talk, and I started it just now, right now, because I told myself that there's never going to be a time where I'm going to actually be brave enough to do this. I'd be stuck with feeling like I can't edit correctly, or maybe I'm not producing the right content, or maybe I don't look good. I changed my shirt twice before I even sat down to start recording this. And then I thought to myself, who cares? This journal's for me. Sorry, I just turned the microphone off. We're learning. This journal's for me. This journey is for me. And it starts with this video. Stopping and just doing things. And so what I'm going to talk about are all of these things that I'm going to apply it to, and how I've actually already applied it to aspects of my life. So we'll start at the beginning of when I started thinking about things like this. I recently got a new job. It's very stable in the sense of time. I used to work in hospitality, and when you work in that industry, you never know when you have free time. And I always use that as an excuse for, oh, I can't do anything this day because next week I have a shift. And usually during this time I'd be working, and so I'd never do it. And I'd sit behind my computer and I would play games and waste my life away. That's not who I am. I'm scheduling things now because of this new job. And on my off time, I've picked up from all these really inspirational videos that I've been seeing about, just doing things. And so the first thing that I started with is reading. And I'm going to talk about that now. Within the first month, bear in mind, I've never been a reader, I read through this trio of books by Ryan Holiday, where it essentially talks about Stoicism. Now, I'm not going to get into these books right now, because this journal is for me to watch in the future, and I will one of these episodes talk about what these mean to me, and maybe even read them again before I do it. But I started reading this within a month of not being a reader. And then once I finished those, I began this, where I read on my breaks when I'm at my job, because I don't want to overwhelm myself. Right? I always think there's if I applied it to my thought process of procrastination from before, I'd think there's too many pages in this book, so I'm not going to start because I'll never finish. And what an incredible lie that was to tell to myself, because I finished 3 books in a month as if, they were nothing. And I never thought I could get through a book. I'm not a reader. I'm just like everyone else who sees these inspirational videos on like my For You page where they say just go and do it, just start it, and then you never really start it, but then you do. And that's what inspired me to start this, not this book, this video series. I've always been interested in content creation, and in the exact same way that I didn't think I could finish a book, I didn't think I could start any sort of content creation. Now, I don't expect this to blow up. I don't expect the editing to be perfect, and I'm okay with that because this is proof that I started. I bought a microphone, I have a stand, and I just put my iPhone in, and I'm recording, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm really proud of myself for not procrastinating on this, because I've been thinking of it for a very long time, and I really wanted to action it. And I thought to myself, if I can read, I can start content. And this is personally for me, this series. But if it can go to prove to anyone else that watches this, that thinks to themselves, I'm not in a good place, I wake up at noon, I don't eat healthy, I don't do all these things that people think that you have to be healthy to do, that doesn't mean you can't just start. And these videos have really got to me. So, now that I'm over why I'm starting, I'll continue talking about what I have done. So, like I said, I've read these books. But another thing that these books inspired me to do was begin journaling. And so, I walked into Walmart on one random day after work, even though it takes me an hour to commute back and then I have to sleep at a certain time and I don't have a lot of time. I walked into Walmart, bought a journal. And I've been using this journal once every couple of days. And I'm not too happy about that, but I'm happy that I started, right? There is content in this book. And I look back at it and I'm like, hey, I wrote this. Now, for today, I believe this video is my journal of sorts. But this has more private stuff. Second thing that I started doing was this productivity planner. Now, I didn't buy this recently. It's actually, I'm very ashamed of myself. Because while I was looking for a job, I bought this 3 years ago. Started it for a week. And inside of this book, it essentially says, put 5 things down that you want to get completed for the day. And I have the date. And then it says, what do you want to reward yourself if you do it for all of the week? And I remember what I was like. I put in something at the end of this week, the first week of this, and it went by like nothing. I maybe did it for a week and then didn't do it again. And now I started with it again. I pulled it out. I never threw it out. And I'm very happy I didn't. And while I'm not following it to the T, because I used to think if I didn't follow to the T, I'm doing it wrong, and so why would I do it? Now, I don't care. Now I'm just doing it. I am looking through this book. I see the 5 things that I want to complete, and I write what I want to do for the next day after. So that's another big step of what I've been doing. Another thing that I've been doing that I've actually been really shy about saying is I'm re-exploring my faith. And embarrassingly enough, well, I guess not embarrassing, I started watching this video or this show called The Chosen, and it essentially is a series about the life of Jesus. And I've learned so much about what he went through for Christians, for people in general. And it's something that I really want to explore more. I'd never been in touch with my faith, and for a majority of my life, I didn't believe. And I'm trusting in God that he will lead me to be the man that I know I can be. Now, I wrote a script. I'm going to look at it right now. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about what I'm curious about. So what I've done, what this is, what I've done, and now what I want to do. So I want to get into UGC creation, which is user-generated content. And essentially it's like companies will sponsor you to talk about their product. Start somewhere, and that is here. And that is starting with content of any kind to build a portfolio. For myself, this is majority for. Another thing, I have a CS degree. That's what that is up there, in computer science, software development, and game design. And while I know the basics, I've never been truly skilled in it. And this wrapped all the way back to when I graduated university, where I'm like, I'll never be able to do the big league stuff, and so I never started. Along with reading, I majority use Unity as a program, and so I've finished their Unity Essentials program, which essentially gives like a basic of how to use Unity. I wasn't really familiar with a lot of the stuff in there, but I did it, I started it, and I finished it. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, I want to do coding in general, and then I just started coding a calculator. No tutorial, no nothing. I've been procrastinating on it. Theme of the video. I will continue to work on it though. Most likely when Monday comes, it's Sunday right now. I'll action it again in my productivity planner. Just do it little by little, bite by bite. Right? The main thing that I want to think about is, am I 1% better than I am at the end of the day? So by this time next week, I should be 7% better, which is really glad to think of. I'm really glad to think about. Anyway, once again, I'm Jay. This is Week by Week, and I'll see you next week.